Welcome back to the channel. Thanks for joining me, and thanks to everyone who's subscribed recently. And if you're not a subscriber, maybe now's the time to do it. I'm Robin Clevitt and my channel is all about carpentry and building. You also see me over on Skill Builder, where we do some really interesting stuff. So my channel's a little bit different. I film everything with my mobile phone. Sorry about that if people comment about the sound. I don't have all the equipment, but it's more about the content and the message that I'd like to get across to you. I really encourage people to watch and learn and try, and I think that sharing knowledge is enriching, and I think that we should all do it, and this medium of YouTube is perfect for it. So if you've been following me making my doors, I'm nearly there now. You can see them behind me. They're swinging. The polishing has been finished now. They look absolutely amazing. So thanks Gavin for doing the polishing. Really nice job. And I've just got to put the locks back in. So in this video, I'm going to fit the locks back in. I'm not going to film too much of that, but I am going to talk about the locks, the type of locks that I've used. And also at the end of this video, I'd like to sort of tell you just what these doors have cost as a carpenter. Now, I think that's quite important. It provides a bit of context, and people are always asking me, you know, where did you get the timber? How did you make them? So hopefully I will instill a bit of that knowledge into you as well. Now, part of the job today, I've got to put my knobs on. These are our sort of handles. They're a decorative feature, and I'll put a bit of footage in here about how I made these, basically with a router and other tools. Excuse the cat running in. And then we've got a special little device that I've created. And what this does, it's a secret fixing for this knob or this handle, because what I don't want to do is face fix and back fix, because there's one on either side. It's like dovetailed plate connection, and it's really quite nice. And so it simply is that one section will be fixed back to the door or the handle, and the other one will be slid over, and I'll slide that over just with some adhesive. Oh, it says dropping it. Just with some adhesive. Now, so this is just some of the, this is how we made them. This, for example, is one of the strips of cladding. We mounted that on the CNC, and then it produced the part. Now that's actually 3 parts. You've got the dovetail section that slides in. You've got a plate here. Now I won't open this up, but actually there's 2 blocks here which are doweled together, and that was all part of the CNC process to make it. You have to sort of think with CNC how the drill's going to enter, or the router's going to enter, take the bits out. So it comes up with these wonderful sort of shapes. You can see where, believe it or not, that came from there, for example, the dovetail piece. So they're it's a bit of an experiment, and I'm sure they're going to look amazing. I'm also going to have a quick chat about how the Simon's work hinges adjust. They're the hinges called the Tectus, and they're super hinges, super strong, and I really do like them. So keep tuned. So the operation of the doors is super smooth, and one of the comments in the previous video, someone said we wouldn't want the wind to catch those doors, but to be fair, being that they're about 108 kilos per door, the wind would need to be seriously strong to actually blow them. I mean, I've had windy days here where they've been unlocked and open, and they just stay exactly where they are. But it was a good comment though, and I really appreciate that type of engagement as well. So let me just talk to you a little bit about the Simon's Works Tectus hinge and its adjustment. So you can see that the hinge is a fully recessed hinge, which is where all of the strength comes from. For example, even though it has these retaining screws, which in my case go into the frame, through the frame, and into my timber frame behind, so it's really strong, the actual gravity, all the weight is actually being held by the fact that the housing is absolutely perfect. So what do we do if we want to adjust the doors? Now we can adjust the doors up, we can adjust the doors in and out, so to adjust the gap in the middle, and we can also throw them as well, so we can move them in and out of the rebate as well. So here we have the top section of screws. Here is the compression clamping screws. I undo those, and then if I want to raise the door, I do it by tightening this and loosening here. So loosen here, tighten here, and what it effectively does is inside it's beveled, and as you tighten it, it drives its way up the bevel. Now these are quite heavy, these doors. I need to put them on packers and my airbags that actually enable that to happen because they are so heavy. And then the second adjustment we've got, for example, if I want to close up the gap, the closing gap on the rebate, I do that on this section of the hinge here, and it's just a matter of winding in or out these two here, which actually bring the hinge in and out. So, and the last adjustment is obviously here, which throws the door sort of laterally, if you like. So they are really, really nice. And the beauty of this is I can go back to these every year, fine tune them, and you know, it's a perfect technology. So that's the Texas hinge, and I'd really, really recommend using these for anything like this. Now I decided to use a decent lock. Of course, I've got two mortise locks, top and bottom, and I've got a night latch as well. And I'm using locks by a company called Banham. They're very big in London. They're a very old company, well established, really good at security. And I just thought to myself, I wanted something which was really nice looking, has a good pedigree, and so that's partly why I chose Banham. Now I'm using a mortise lock. It looks like a typical mortise lock, quite heavy, quite nicely made, and it has a Euro type cylinder. This is a Banham Euro type cylinder. Now because my doors are extra thick, these all had to be sort of made especially, and also we have these really nice escutcheon plates that go over the top, and even the bolts had to be longer, for example. Now I did have a bit of a problem. One of these plates actually had no thread inside the bottom of that ferrule here, and that was a bit of a pain. I'm not sure why that is. It's just a manufacturer problem, I suppose. It was like a blind ferrule that was in there, and I tried and tried, and my eyesight's getting a bit tired now. That was really frustrating. It wasn't until I got my proper reading glasses on, I looked inside and I said, there's no thread in there, I'm never going to screw that in. So that was a bit of a faff, and I called them up and I said, oh, this is a problem. And they were like, oh my God, they just wouldn't change it. I had to go back to my supplier who supplied the locks. He had to get in touch with them. So that was a bit of a pain, Banham. If you end up watching this video, then, you know, I didn't particularly like that bit of customer service there. But I've got a replacement now. Didn't obviously cost me anything. But two things there for Banham. Check your production and make sure if you get these blind ones, you can welcome to it back if you want to have a look at it as well. Just get in touch with me. But anyway, I'm going to get back on, fix this back in. Just to say, it's a typical mortise lock. There's a lot more cutting, and to allow for the cylinder, for example, there's a particular amount of tolerance you want to give for that. The inside's different from the outside, so there's a lot of drill bits. I'll include a little bit now of video showing you how to go about that. I've got 3 locks on my front doors, and I've had to have these especially made because of the thickness of the doors. So I've got 2 mortise locks which have got rebate kits, which are something like this. I have got a night latch, an automatic deadlocking night latch as well, and that's the keep for this. And if anyone's fixed locks before or made other kinds of work which involves lots of setting out, lots of precision drilling with sharp drill bits, you know that there isn't a lot of room for error or tolerances. And also, I've spent a lot of time making these doors, and I want to get it right first time. I think what I want to get across, the message I want to get across is, make sure you've got the right kit, make sure you read the instructions, and take your time. I often like to use just a hand screwdriver for anything like this. I don't believe in using a battery drill. I just think that it should be put in by hand. So once the lock's inserted, you have to put in the Euro cylinder. You need a key for this just to line up the actual device here. So slot it through. Just check it. And then it has a retaining screw which goes through the multi-lock into the cylinder. Now I would leave your screws just thereabouts for tight, just to make sure it all operates well. Then I'll put in my escutcheons, which fix from the back. That's the escutcheon secured. Then what I like to do is at this point tighten up the four end fixing screws. Check the operation. Then we have the cover plate which goes over, fits the mortise exactly. And this is held by a couple of tiny screws. Perfect. So that's it. I have finished the doors and I'm well pleased. They were enjoyable to do. As you know, I love carpentry and joinery, and what a better way to do it than to do your own doors as a carpenter. This is a carpenter's house. I have to have carpenter's front doors. I did consider having them made, but lockdown came and there was no way I could find the right manufacturer and all the rest of it. And I just thought, actually, I've got the skills and I had the time, so I thought I'd do it. So at the beginning of this video, I told you a little bit about the fact I was going to tell you what they cost me. Okay, so here's a little running list. Now, the doors consist of door blanks. They're solid cord door blanks, and that's what creates the structure of the doors. They come in large sizes, and if you looked at the videos, I reduced them in size, then I edged them, and then I began to effectively veneer them in the solid sapele that you see here. So the door blanks were £300. The raw material, the sapele, which was machined up, was £1,400. The hinges from Simon's Works were £800. They sound expensive, but they're the business. The locks, the 3 Banham locks and a couple of bolts on the inside, were £1,100. The polishing was £480, and my labour was 8 days. So 8 days, let's just take an average carpenter's money, £200 a day. That's £1,600. Give me a grand total of £5,680. So take my labour off, just over the £4,000 mark. So yes, it does sound expensive, but they're fabulous doors. They're super strong. They've got a gasket all the way around. They're airtight. They're also really good in terms of U values because they're 80mm thick and they're solid. So there's very little heat that's going to escape out, and there's very little cold that's going to come through them as well. I'm really pleased with these doors. Thanks for watching my video, and keep checking back soon. And if you didn't catch the bit earlier with the knob, this is how they're fixed. This is our little device we made, and all I have to do is get those bonded in and we're finished. See you soon.